Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about chipping versus pitching. What are the two, the setup differences, the in-swing differences? We'll talk about each one. Hey guys, so let's talk about chipping versus pitching. Before we get into that, I do want to tell you guys that our membership site is up and live. We'll put a link in the box here up above. The membership site, as we talked about a little bit before, I'm going to talk about it more as we go, is in more detail than the videos we do here. There's going to be a lot of exclusive lessons. We did over 100 videos that we shot that we haven't posted anywhere else. A lot more detail in those videos. We go more in depth. That's part of it. You'll get to see a lot more live lessons for me giving lessons in person, as well as some of the online swing analysis that I do. We have our Facebook community on there. There's going to be a lot of other features as we go. We'll be giving a lot of content on the site that we're not going to put out anymore. So you guys that like our content, that want more, check that out. Now, chipping versus pitching. So definition-wise, I guess the quick sloppy definition of the chipping and pitching in my world is a pitch shot is a shot where I hit the ball higher than normal and it flies farther. So sort of a higher shot that flies a little bit farther. That would be what people would term a pitch shot. And then a chip shot would be a shot that I would hit that would fly lower than normal and not carry quite as far. Now, I don't really use the terms chipping and pitching when I coach. I just think it's chipping, right? So anything inside of 30 yards to me is a chip shot. And then you chip at different trajectories. You chip low versus medium versus high. And there's some setup adjustments, but some people do use the term chipping and pitching, so we'll go over those. But to me, it's just all chipping, and then once you kind of get 30 yards and out, it's wedges. So we will categorize things that way moving forward. But chipping and pitching here today. So I'm going to hit a chip shot first, and then I'm going to hit a pitch shot second. I want you guys to look at the differences yourselves, see what adjustments that you pick out that I make in my setup and in swing, and then we'll go through each one a little bit more in detail. So chip shot first. Remember I said chip shot, a little bit lower than normal and flies shorter relative to the pitch shot. So I'm just going to hit a ball in the middle of the green here, and you'll see the ball will fly a little bit lower than normal and not travel super far. Here's my chip shot technique. Here's my setup pieces, and here's my chip shot. Okay, so that'll be about a baseline chip shot that I hit, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 yards. And now here's my pitch shot. So before we go through these, see if you can spot the differences in both my setup and my actual in-swing. So here's pitch shot. Okay, so there's my pitching technique. I'll do that one more time. Here's my chipping. So chip shot, lower than normal, fly shorter. Okay, there's my normal chip. And now here's my pitch shot. So see if you can see the setup adjustments. Good, and there's my pitch shot. So those are the two different shots. Let's talk about what differentiates each one. Let's start with the setup. So when I'm doing my setup, everything that I'm going to do here is based on the fact that I'm trying to hit the ball lower than normal first, right, on a chip shot. So a chip shot I would use under most circumstances. So if I have a lot of green to work with, certainly I'm going to do a chip shot, hit it lower than normal. I only want to fly the ball basically as much as I have to. So if I have a shot where, let's say I'm 30 yards from the hole or 20 yards from the hole even, and I only have like 5 yards of rough or fairway, but I have 15 yards of green. Well, I have 3 times as much green as I do fairway. I'm not going to hit a shot there where I'm going to fly it all the way to the hole and try and stop it perfectly. Okay, do some people have enough skill where they can do that? Yes, but the risk in that for most of you guys is too great. So in a scenario like that, I've only got to fly it about, I've got a third of fairway a quarter of fairway, and then I have 2/3 green to work with. I'm going to get the ball on the ground sort of as quick as I can and get it back to the hole. It'd be more of a chip shot. So what setup pieces do I do? Well, it starts with the ball position. We said chip shot is lower than normal. Where would I move the ball position if I want to hit the ball lower? Would I move it back or would I move it forward? I would move it back, right? So the more the ball goes back in my stance, the lower it goes. The next question then is how far back? And there's no perfect answer. The answer to that is play around with it. see what works. Have I seen really great trippers and pitchers of the ball with the ball in line with their right toe? Yes. Behind their right toe? Yes. In front of their right toe? Yes. For me as a stock model, getting the ball too far back gets risky. A lot of leading edge comes into play with that. So I'm going to recommend just inside your right big toe, or about even with your right foot for a baseline chip shot that you're trying to hit lower than normal, okay? We've done other chipping videos where I recommend the ball being a little bit more forward towards middle, using the bounce. You can watch those, that's different. We're talking specifically kind of lower chip shot. So ball in line with the right toe or just inside. Handle here will be slightly forward. I don't want it way forward like so. Slightly forward, hands kind of inside of the left thigh would be appropriate. Club face here will be very square. I don't need to open it at all. As always with my normal chip shots, my feet are very close together. All of those pieces will stay the same. So ball's a little bit farther back, handle slightly forward. I will probably go about 60% of weight in my left leg, 40 in my right leg. So if I'm kind of just coming in from stock, what adjustments I'm making? I'm gonna go ball back, right, part one, handle and weight slightly forward here like this. And then in swing, you know, we talked before about there's different ways to do the chipping. Basically, I'm gonna look for not a ton of hinge back, not a ton of hinge through, and we'll talk about the release patterns in a minute. So baseline chip shot, mostly setup adjustments, not a ton of hinge back, not a ton of hinge through. That would be sort of a baseline chipping piece. Now, if I were doing my pitching motion, the main setup piece that I'm going to adjust is the ball position. Here's my chipping motion. Ball slightly farther back, hand slightly forward, weight slightly forward. Pitch shot, now the ball's going to be much more middle of my stance, in between. Notice how close my heels are together, right? My toes are only farther apart because I flared my foot. Ball's in the middle, like this. Now here, my shaft is not going to be nearly as much pushed forward. It'll still be basically inside of my left thigh, but because the ball's more forward, it's not leaning as much, right? I'll probably be 50-50 here in terms of my weight distribution. Why am I making those adjustments? Because on this shot, I want to hit it higher than normal, right? If I want to hit it higher than normal, would I move the ball forward or back? I would move the ball forward. If I wanted to hit it higher than normal, do I want less loft with the handle forward or more loft with the handle more neutral? I want more loft with the handle more neutral, right? So those are my setup pieces. Ball more middle, shaft more neutral, weight more neutral. And then we'll talk about the in-swing there in a minute. So there's my shot. Ball goes higher than normal, travels a little farther. Now in swing, what you should notice different is this. Here's my chipping motion, backswing, follow through. Here's my pitching motion, backswing, follow through. Now, what did you notice difference between the two? You should notice on my pitching motion that I've added hinge back and unhinge through, right? So more hinge motion on the pitching the motion when I want to hit the ball higher. And with the chipping motion, if I want to hit it lower, there's less hinge motion. Now, most of that is to allow myself to have enough loft that I can hit the ball higher. So a lot of that is going to be done in the follow through piece. We talked in some other videos about how you follow through with the chipping versus pitching to change trajectories. If I wanted to hit the lowest shot, which would be chipping style, my hands would be farther away from my hip and the club head would be lower than my hands. If I wanted to go medium style trajectory, my butt of my club's a little bit closer to my hip. My club head's roughly even with my hands. And the highest shot would be butt of the club close to my hip again, club head very high. Now, for a chip shot, you would do the low version, which would be more here. And then for the pitch motion, you would do the high motion, which would be more here, right? So you're adding hinge on both sides. Now, adding hinge on both sides for some of you is going to make this more difficult. Your quality of shots might go down a little bit, and that's a skill piece, okay? You have to learn how to do that. That's why if you're an amateur golfer, the higher your score range is, most of us would recommend you chip as often as possible, meaning lower to the ground, get the ball rolling, use other clubs, hit bump and runs. If you're going to pitch the ball, you have to be more precise with your low point. So you have to practice that piece. For all of you, some of you, that's not going to be a great idea. You can learn how to do a baseline chip motion to the point where you break 100, break 90, maybe even break 80, right, without even hitting any of those higher pitch shots. But there are some circumstances. If you have a tucked pin, if you're hitting over a bunker, things like that where that would come into play. So Hope that makes sense. I want to keep this pretty simple in terms of the definitions of the two and the main pieces you want to adjust. Couple setup pieces you want to adjust between those two, and a little bit more hinge on the pitch motion, and really focus on your follow through and try out those 3 different finish positions and see the difference in the trajectory that you have. So chipping versus pitching, a couple of the basics. Hope that all makes sense to you guys. If you guys have any questions, as always, leave me a comment down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and click the like button down below. Click the notification bell if you haven't, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And once again, just a quick reminder, our membership site is up and live. What you're gonna get with the membership site basically is more exclusive lessons. We go into more detail in the videos there than we do in these videos here on YouTube. Obviously, there's only so much time we can do here with the videos, so there'll be more content there. You'll be able to see live lessons. We have our Facebook community there. It's a lot more interaction with me and the group. Please check that out when you get some time. It's in the link in the description down below. As always, if you guys have any questions, just leave me a comment down below. Thank you.